Tomorrow I'll say we can still be friends. But I'm never coming back here again. This is Never Coming Back Here Again by Michael Lyons.
I'm never coming back here again. This is it now, this is the end. Tomorrow I'll say we can still be friends, but I'm never coming back here again. I was caught for 3 long years, lost in the thoughts of a young man's fears. I cannot swim in a sea of tears. I found you out and then I disappeared. Now I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again. This is it now, this is the end. I'm never coming back here again. And so it comes down to this. One sad parting farewell kiss. Goodbyes in this morning's mist. What's mine is yours, but what's yours is his. So I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again. This is it now, this is the end. I'm never coming back here again. Oh, oh, oh. I'm never coming back here again. This is it now, this is the end. Tomorrow I'll say we can still be friends, but I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again.
Oh, okay, hey, BOOZHOO, and welcome back to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am NANABOOZHOO, sitting fireside with my best gal. With your best gal? Yeah, that's what they used to call it. With the lovely and the talented Natasha. Ikadon BOOZHOO, Weenie Mushane. Say hello to everybody. BOOZHOO, Kakina Eya. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to the show. And over here, the rock star cartoonist, Michael Lyons. Ikadon BOOZHOO, Niji. Say hello. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. How you doing? I'm great. How are you? Yeah. Not too bad. Not too bad on this Gazibi Geese Saginagay Geeja Good floor washing day. We gotta get it together and wash the floors, sweetie. Don't look at me, man. Gazibi Geese Saginagay Geeja Good. This is the sacred day. We would wash the floors. This is the Ojibwe word for Saturday. It's floor washing day. And in this house, it means vacuuming, cat litter. Yeah. And sweeping the kitchen and then, washing the floors and the walls around the garbage. I know, it's disgusting. How could our aim be so bad? I think it's because I always do like bank shots when I throw away the little coffee things. I'm not really trying to go for a swish. I just throw it right at the wall. And so now there's all this. Uh-oh, the bikers are here, sweetie. I hear them. Did you guys hear that? Yeah, that's a Harley if I ever heard one. I hope they keep going. Motorcycles. Motorcycles are cool. I'm just kind of afraid of them. I know, I am too. I mean, I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid to crash. Yeah. Gives a big geese, again a gay, geese are good. Huh, Daniel Black. Oh, is Daniel here? Yeah, he sure is. What's up, Daniel? And so is Jim Dunn. Hey, Jim Dunn. Yo, what's up? And John Redcorn. Niji. Hello, brother. John Redcorn. BOOZHOO. And Nancy Schmancy says, BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, Natasha, and Michael. Hey, Nancy, how you doing? How you doing, Nancy? And good morning to everyone. Ruby's here with the BOOZHOO. BOOZHOO. And John Redcorn, lovely and talented Natasha. Huh. No, get out of here. You're making me blush. Oh, is that why they call you the Redskin? No, that's for other reasons. Oh, okay. Yikes. So, today... Oh, no, wait. I was going to do that poem. Let's save the poem. Behold the sea. I'll do a deep talk about the sea, and we can do that Water Boys poem for the break. Okay. So, what's going on? Anin, Eiji Eyayan. How are you? How? That's what we say as Indians, huh? Yeah, how? How, Kola? That's actually Sioux. That's Dakota for sup. How is? Yep. I always thought that was kind of like a stereotype because Hollywood. Oh, how? How's it going? But actually in Dakota to say hello, you say how. So, there you go. So not everything is racist, sweetie. I didn't say it was. I'm just kidding. So yesterday we were talking about Issa Gum is a Gay Jesus, the Sep Boiling Moon. This is April. And I didn't get a chance to really talk about sugar bush and to talk about that part of our culture and our history. The harvesting of maple sugar. You see, back in the days of the grandfathers, there was a time when there was no granulated sugar. It was just brown sugar for the pioneers and all that. For many years, the only kind of sweetener people had was maple sugar. And that was a boom period economically for Ojibwe people. We did very well trading in maple sugar and that. And we'd get it from the maple tree. Anuttig. Anit. Okay, I can't say it. Aninuttig. Aninuttig. It's maple. But if you want to say maple sap, this is the goo that runs out of the, it's the sap. We say, Wishko Babu. Wishko Babu. There's that Abu again, sweetie. Wishko Babu. But Abu, like Makere Mashkiki Wabu, and Abu, and Anibishabu for tea. These are like water, liquid that you sip. And when you, refine down that sap and you turn it into syrup, Jiwan gamazi gun. Jiwa gamazi gun. Jiwa gamazi gun. I should really practice these words before I try to teach them, huh? Yeah. Jiwa gamazi gun. Gamazi gun. Jiwa gamazi gun. Jiwa gamazi. You know what I heard? What's that? Speaking of the Beatles. Were we speaking of the Beatles? I was kind of singing Yellow Submarine there. Apparently, number one, this will shock you, Paul McCartney is still alive. Is he really? Yeah. And he's going on tour again. Why? I don't know. Why do these Walking Dead rock stars from the 60s never retire? Paul McCartney is gonna... I think they're just gonna wheel out a hospital bed and like oxygen and stuff. Yeah. And be like, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the Beatles, Paul McCartney. Yay! My favorite singer from the 1960s, 60 years ago. Say you want a revolution. What? I don't know what kind of deal. When he signed his soul to the devil, did he agree that he would never stop doing a stupid routine of getting up on a stage, playing his guitar backwards, and singing songs our grandparents listened to? I don't get it. Why don't they quit? We're part of the stalled century. Stalled century? Yeah, nothing new happens. It's been stalled. Like there was new music, everything changed, everything was new. And then come the 1960s to the 80s, and it just stalled. All we have now is, nostalgia, man. Yeah, it's just nostalgia. Anyway. So, back in the days of the grandfathers, these are the Ojibwe words for, this time of year, going out and making syrup for your pancakes. And so today I would like to tell this story. A lot of people forget that the original harvesters of maple sap and maple sugar and the syrup and stuff actually came from the bears. Is that right? Yeah. Back in the days of the grandfathers, there was a family of 3 bears who lived out in the woods, and every spring they would go out to the sugar bush and harvest the maple sap. Why do I want to call it maple sugar? It's not sugar until after the sap's harvested. Yeah. And so this one morning they were going to go out and check the trees. We're going to go out and check those old... Whoops. Anatig. Aninatig. Aninatig. They're going to go and check the maple trees. And there was a papa bear, and a mama bear, and then a little baby bear. And Abinujians Makwa. Yep, Abinujians Makwa. There's a papa Makwa, mama Makwa, and baby Makwa. It was a family of 3 bears. And they all lived together in a cabin. Yeah, that's right, kids. Bears, that you see out foraging in a dump. They actually live in cabins in the woods. And they eat people food. You knew that already, though. Because you always see them out by the dumpsters. Anyway. So the morning came. They were like, hey, you know what? Let's have some breakfast. And Papa Bear goes, you know what? Before we eat the breakfast, let's go out and check those maple trees. What's the worst that can happen? So they all get up from the table. They don't touch their breakfast, even though it's served on the table right there. And they leave the house. Well, pretty soon, what happens? Goldilocks. Hey, that's Nellie. Yeah. Goldilocks comes walking through the woods and she's like, hey, look, there's a cabin that doesn't belong to me. I know. Why don't I break into that cabin, enter it, thereby committing breaking and entering, and, have a look around, see what's going on. So she invites herself in. She's all like, hello, anybody here? Any talking bears? No? What's this? Smells like porridge in here. Yeah, sure enough. Look, there's three places set here for porridge. I'm gonna try this porridge. I know nobody's invited me in. Yeah. I know it's not my house or my breakfast, but I'm sitting down. And she sits in the first chair and she's like, this chair is too soft. So she moves to the next chair. This one's too hard. Next one, this one's just right. And she tries some of the porridge. And she goes, oh, wow, that's really hot. This porridge is too hot. Instead of waiting, 20 seconds, she just pushes it away, grabs the other one. Takes a bite. Oh, this porridge is too cold. She can't be satisfied, Then the third one, hey, you know what? This one's just right. Gobbles it up. Gets up from the table, and now she's all sleepy. She goes, what? Do they have any bedrooms around here? And sure enough, she goes back and she sees these 3 beds. She jumps in the first one and smells like bear, but she doesn't care. She goes, this one's too hard. So she gets out and she jumps in the next one. Oh, crap. This one's too soft. Then she goes into a little, the crib, a baby bear bed. I don't know. And she goes, this one's just right. Falls asleep. I guess. Yeah. Well, sure, soon enough, the bears come back. And they're like, hey, who's this white lady sleeping in the kid's bed? And if I remember the story right, I think she just screams and runs away. And then it's like the end. What kind of story is that? Another one of those dumb kid stories. And this has been the story of Goldilocks and the 3 bears. And this way, Muckwug. 3 bears and Goldilocks. You racist. How is that racist? It's racist get to race of bears. Oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah. To learn more about bears and Goldilocks, I don't know, watch a Disney movie or something. I've never really understood what the moral of the stories of all those old German, they even have a creepy name. The Brothers Grimm. The Brothers Grimm. Hi, we're 2 brothers. We wrote a bunch of kid stories. They're just grim. This one's about breaking and entering. Bears with, complex lives. You got the one with, what's his name? Jack and the Beanstalk? Jack and the Beanstalk. Oh, I'm Jack and the... Look, I got some magic beans. What's the moral of that story? Do you want to tell that story? I've never understood Jack and the Beanstalk. We got a background for it. Really? Yeah, hang on. I know. Why don't you teleport me to the holodeck, and I'll recreate a magical place to tell the Jack and the Beanstalk story. All right, hang on. I'm gonna go to the holodeck. 1 to teleport. Make it so, number 1. Okay, hang on. I'm going down. Isn't it working? Oh, yeah, hang on. Yeah, that's more like it. So let's see how Jack and the Beanstalk. Computer. Run program. I don't know. Outside summary country road. Yeah, this will work. Country roads, take me home to the place where I belong. Nah. So back in the days of the grandfathers, There's a guy named Jack. And he lived either with his mom or his wife. I can't remember. Because their relationship, it could go either way. And so what happens? Day comes, his mom comes in and she's all like, "Hey Jack, I want you to we don't have any food. I want you to go take the cow, bring it into town, sell it, and we can go buy some groceries." And Jack goes, "Why don't we just butcher the cow?" And she's like, "That would make way too much sense. I want you to take the cow, walk it into town, see if you can find somebody. What, you're going to go to the grocery store, go to the butcher? Ask, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, come back with some money. But don't be fooled by those goblins under the bridge, all right?" And he goes, "Come on, Ma. I did that one time. I'm not going to let them trick me again." So he goes and he grabs the cow. He starts walking into town. Gets to the old bridge where the goblins live underneath there. And the goblin comes up and he's like, "Hey, that's a real nice cow you got there, Jack. Let's say we make a trade." And Jack goes, "I don't want to trade with you, man. I need some money. I need some junia. You know, my mom or my wife or whoever that lady was, she wants me to sell it." And the goblin goes, "No, I got something even better than money. Look, I got magic beans." He goes, "Magic beans?" He goes, "Yeah, man, they're magic. You know, look, I'll like 6 of them. I'll give you 6 magic beans for that just one stupid cow. That's a good deal." And Jack went, 6, 1. That is a good deal. He goes, "You got a deal, mister." And he trades up his, how much is a cow? $2,000? $5,000? 10? I have no idea how much a full-grown cow costs. But I'm sure it's quite a bit more expensive than a can of beans. But, so Jack's stupid and he takes the trade, turns around, goes back home. And Mom greets him at the door and says, "Hey, how much did you get for that cow?" He goes, "Oh, I got good news, Mom. I didn't even go to town. I traded it for some magic beans." And his mom just looks at him and goes, "Oh, you're stupid." She goes, "Give me those beans." She throws them out the window. She goes, "Now we got no cow and no groceries. Nice going, dummy." And, she storms off and he feels bad. Eventually, he goes to bed. And he wakes up the next morning and looks out the window and what's there? Big old beanstalk. I mean, not even like a 10-foot tall beanstalk. This beanstalk, it went clear up through the clouds up to the firmament, which is a real thing, you guys. Up to the glass dome firmament. And he's like, "Oh, wow, that guy wasn't kidding. Those beans, they must have been magic." So, instead of, doing something sensible, like, maybe going and grabbing just one of the giant beans that they could eat for breakfast. I don't know. He says, "Hey, I know. I'm going to climb up there. And I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to climb this magic beanstalk that for sure exists, and I'm not just hallucinating. And I'm going to climb it up past those clouds, dangerously high. First thing in the morning." And he runs out there, he starts climbing up the beanstalk. And he's climbing, and he's climbing, and he's climbing. Oh, wow, he looks out at one point, he can just see all the way into town. And he looks down, and he waves at that little goblin with his cow. And the goblin's like, "Oh, man, I should have planted those beans. Why didn't I think of that?" But he just keeps climbing. Gets up past the clouds, and what's up there? A city. Cloud City. And Lando Calrissian comes out, the one black guy in the whole universe who's in Star Wars. And he says, hey, welcome to... When are we coming to the boardroom? And who's there? Darth Vader? Nah. No, but he gets up there and there's a castle. And he's like, oh, wow, look at that big old castle. I can't believe it. When you get up to the firmament, it's like there's a city of giants or something. And he looks over here, and what's there? A goose. But not just a goose. This goose, it poops gold. The ground everywhere was covered in gold from all the goose poop. No, wait, I got that wrong. It golden eggs. Yeah, that's what it was. It would lay a golden egg. Well, he's like, well, I'm going to have to steal this. So he steals the goose. And then he feels a rumbling in the ground. He's like, what? You know, each step. And he turns around. And what's there? Big old giant. Huge, like King Kong-sized giant. And the giant says, Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. And Jack goes, Englishman? No. I'm from Minnesota. Nah. So he goes, I better get out of here. It's time I majan. Majada, let's go, he says to that goose. Grabs the goose by the neck with one hand. Runs to the, that beanstalk. And just starts climbing down as fast as he can with one hand. And this beanstalk's big, by the way. It's like the size of way bigger than a tree. So a giant can also climb down it. And the giant climbs after him, but Jack gets to the bottom really quick. And he sets down his goose that lays golden eggs. And he takes an axe and he starts chopping at that giant beanstalk. And I know it's hard to believe, but he somehow chops down the beanstalk before the giant can get low enough, but still high enough that when the giant falls, it kills him. And so this is the story of Jack and the murder he committed. I guess the moral of the story is, if you're going to steal, you better be ready to murder too. And this has been the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. I mean, what is the moral of that story? It makes no sense. Computer. Boop, 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 boop. End program. Boop, 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 boop. It's too loud. Computer. Boop, 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 boop. What's the moral of the story of Jack and the Beanstalk? Boop, 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 boop. Oh, that's right. I haven't gotten Siri yet. I have a holodeck, but it's not I got the cheap version. It doesn't have the Siri component put into it yet. Anyway. Okay, BOOZHOO. Hi, sweetie. Hi, honey. You want to come back? Yeah. Okay, hang on. I'm going to go back. One to teleport. Make it so, number one. Nah. Hey, welcome back. Thank you. Did you figure it out? No. I told the Jack and the Beanstalk story, hoping I would somehow figure out what the moral of the story is. Hey, that motorcycle's back. You don't think the bikers are surrounding the house, do you? I don't hope not. I'm afraid of baby boomers. Yeah. They're the only ones left riding motorcycles. Old people. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what the moral of this story is supposed to be. I don't understand why that story gets preserved in the public consciousness. I know there are some things which are artificially, perpetuated through our culture. Yeah, and they don't deserve it. Yeah, you know. I don't know, it's weird. But let's see what's going on down here. Because I want to talk about rivers and streams. Is that a magazine? Yeah. Was that the weekly newspaper thingy they would give us in school? Rivers and streams or something? Yeah, I think it is. But no, I want to talk about the water boys. Yeah. But first, I want to see who else is here. Mr. Miyagi said, "Show me wash the floor." From the Karate Kid. Show me wash the floor. Show me wax on. Show me wax off. Mr. Miyagi taught him karate by making him clean. Yep. It's also a Potawatomi. Hey, Kaya's here, sweetie. Well, BOOZHOO, Kaya. What's up? Swamp tea is the best. You know what? I've had swamp tea before. I remember the first time I had swamp tea. I thought it was the most delicious thing I had ever tasted. You're kidding. Yeah, because it was during a break in a sweat, and I was so dehydrated, and it was like lukewarm. It wasn't even hot tea, but they gave it to you in like a cup or something. And I sat there and I drank it down in like one. But I thought it was great. And it made me feel good. It was also like medicinal stuff. I mean, it was like cedar tea, I think. I think it's what they mean by swamp tea. Let's get cedar leaves in it. Hey man, adrenochrome is expensive. Yeah. That's why Paul McCartney is still touring. Because adrenochrome, they're not giving that out. I saw a video the other day where they claim that, I wonder if YouTube will censor this. I saw this not on YouTube, but on BitChute. They said that Tom... Ooh, why am I gapping his name? Tom Cruise. Nope. Tom Selleck. Nope. The other one. Tom... The most famous actor in the world was in Philadelphia. Yeah, Tom. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm having a stroke. I'm having that thing that that other actor who just retired had. Bruce Willis. I'm having a Bruce Willis moment. Hey, don't joke about that. I'm going all Bruce Willis. Thank you, Curtis. Tom Hanks. On this video, not joking, they claimed, and they had pictures of Tom Hanks getting arrested, or getting searched anyway, at an airport somewhere. He was flying with his old buddy from Trading Places or whatever. Not Trading Places. Bosom Buddies. Yeah, that actor played the other bosom buddy. Back in the old days, kids, Tom Hanks got to start by playing a transvestite who stayed in a woman's dormitory. It was a sitcom. Well, they claim that Tom Hanks got arrested and sent to Guantanamo Bay, where he received a military tribunal and was executed for his crimes of stuff I know I can't say on YouTube. Jeffrey Epstein stuff. And worse, adrenochrome stuff. And he went out, with no remorse. Just part of that whole satanic thing. And that what we're seeing now is anybody but the real Tom Hanks. Because now the guy playing Tom Hanks is in a new movie with about Elvis Presley. Yeah, he plays the Colonel. Yeah. But I probably shouldn't have said that, because it is a dark conspiracy. What Tom Hanks, who the real Tom Hanks is and what he has done and what all of Hollywood's about. But I don't want to talk about, why am I talking about that, sweetie? I don't know. They never talk about this stuff on Sesame Street. You'll never see Sesame Street bringing up Tom Hanks and adrenochrome. Little House. Hey, Nancy Schmancy. Like elevator music, but worse. An elevator you get out of quick. hold music you're forced to hear for however long it takes the call center to answer. Oh, I know. Don't you hate that? I find myself more often than I want to on one of those long, your call is important to us. Please stay on the line. And then they have to play the worst music you've ever heard. This crappy elevator music that gets interrupted every 10 or every 30 seconds with, please wait, your call. Or what I really hate, when they'll do an advertisement for their own business. You know, First National Bank prides itself. I'm like, would you cut it out? I didn't call to hear a commercial for your dumb bank. I need to report my, or whatever. Yes, another thing that blows my mind, says Ruby, is the music in grocery stores. Like, they play The Clash, and I wonder what Joe Strummer would think of that irony. Yeah, no kidding. They play The Clash in a grocery store. Rock the Casbah, rock the Casbah. Hey, Gwen's here. Morning. Me no giga jab, Gwen. By the way, your Supertramp Breakfast in America reference yesterday. The Logical song brings back memories of my childhood. Wasn't that a great album? I'm going to bring that up. We said we were going to do this. I don't care, sweetie. I'm going to find a picture of Breakfast in America because... Whoops. Not everybody knows about this. Supertramp are more than just a great band. One of the last kind of original... You know, like you always know who it is when nobody confuses Supertramp with Aerosmith, right? You know, so many bands are just interchangeable, but Supertramp had a really unique sound. And they knew about 9/11 before it started. What do you mean? You see this? The Breakfast in America album came out in like the 80s or something. Early 80s, late 70s, I don't know. Back when music was awesome. But if you turn this record backwards, sweetie, look at what those twin towers and the numbers. It says 9/11. That's right. Oh, you explain it. Oh, I guess it's just a coincidence, and Supertramp had nothing to do with it. Is that what you expect me to believe? You think Supertramp was in on it? Yeah, I think Supertramp was the one who hijacked the planes, bravely took over those planes with nothing but box cutters. And there's a glass of orange juice. Oranges are symbolic in the Freemasonry. The color orange, it symbolizes in The Godfather, every time before there was a hit, there's a scene with oranges in it. There'll either be oranges on the table or whatever. That's symbolic of something. But then, if you want your mind blown, sweetie, check this out. That's not even New York City. What? No, it's just a breakfast table. Giga ba. We send you win. Breakfast food. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, see that? Now that's what I call cool artwork. I don't care what Keanu Reeves' girlfriend paints. This is art. Oh, and this will blow your mind too, sweetie. My mind's already blown. Look at where that picture is taken from. It's from an inside of an airplane. Yep, it's an inside of an airplane, and that lady is supposed to be the Statue of Liberty. Oh, my mind is blown. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful. Oh, beautiful. Oh, it was beautiful. And then they showed me a world I could be so dependable. Oh, clinical. Oh, intellectual, cynical. Yeah. Take a look at my girlfriend. She's the only one I got. Not much of a girlfriend. Oh, you're a good girlfriend. La-dee-dee-dee-da-dee-da. Okay. Okay. Supertramp. The world is a weird place. How did they know? Or is it just a coincidence? Were there just a million little weird coincidences on that day? What else, sweetie? You want to take a call? Yeah, I'll take a call. On line 2? Yep, line 2. Hello, caller. Welcome to the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast. You're on the air. I think we did it again. Oh, hang on. No, I can fix it on this side. This is live. What do you want? Welcome to the show, caller. Oh my God! Hi, Donna Bourgeois. Well, hey, Meghan Merkel. Sweetie, it's Meghan Merkel, the princess. Hi, Meghan. Oh, Natasha. Hey, Donna Bourgeois. I was watching a show. Oh, yeah? What do you think? I can't believe it. Supertramp. That's so wild. Yeah, it is, huh? Oh, that's crazy. Hey, can I ask you a question? Well, sure. What's the Ojibwe word of the day? For Saturday? Yeah, how do you say that in Ojibwe? Well, we say Gazubigi Saginagay Gijagud. It is floor washing day. Gazubigi Saginagay Gijagud. Floor washing day. Oh, floor. That's the day I get the maids to wash the floor. Yep, that's when you get your maids. Well, the rest of us, we'd have to do it ourselves. Oh, that's cool. Why don't you get your maid to do it? Oh, we don't have a maid. I mean, unless you consider Natasha my maid. Hey, mister. No, you gotta get your maids and your servants to wash the floor. No, we don't have that. That's just royalty. What? I don't understand. Darling, who are you speaking to? Oh, hi, honey. I'm on the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast. Oh, darling, can I speak to Nana Boozhoo for 1 second? Oh, yeah, sure. Hey, Nana Boozhoo. Yeah, my husband Harry, he wants to say hello. Yeah, okay, put him on the line. What's up, Harry? Oh, yes, Nana Boozhoo. How are you, sir? Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Just talking to your old lady. Oh, she's a dreadful bore. Yeah, but she wanted to know the Ojibwe word for Saturday. Well, everybody knows it's Gazibigis Gishagud. It's floor washing day, and that's the Ojibwe word for Saturday, isn't it? Well, yeah, I know that. How do you know that? Well, I watch your show every Saturday. It's a ritual in our house. I get a cup of tea, and I sit down by the fire, and I say, darling, tune into BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO. I care to learn the Ojibwe words of the day. Wow. You sound pretty serious about it. Yes, it's a lovely language, isn't it? And I think it's important that we all learn and preserve the language. Preserve it for the ancestors and, whatnot. Yeah. Wow, I gotta say, I'm kind of impressed, Prince Harry. So how are things going with your marriage and your kids? Oh, dear me. They're a dreadful bore, aren't they? Isn't it? However you want to put it. Yes, there was a time, I used to hang out with me mates, and we'd drink and hunt. We'd hunt fox. We'd go out on our horses and bring the dogs, and we'd go out on a fox hunt. Yeah? So? Well, Megan, she doesn't like hunting. She made me sell my guns. Yeah, well, sometimes you gotta make compromises in relationships, huh, sweetie? Yeah, you sure do. Hi, Prince Harry. Oh, hello, Natasha. How are you, dear? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Oh, I'm married to Meghan Merkel, so I'm ready to call it in. Game, match, set, mat. She's a dreadful bore, and I can't stand it another minute. Hey, don't talk like that. Just because you're married to Meghan Markle is no reason to kill yourself. No, I won't. I mean, to quote the late great Meatloaf, I'd never, forget my vows and all that. But God only knows what I could do right now. So I'm praying for the end of time. That's all that I can do. Yeah. And why is that? So I can end my time with that dreadful bore, Meghan Markle. How come she didn't change her last name to yours? Well, I couldn't remember what my last name was, innit? As in Prince Harry of Sussex, Prince Harry of England, Prince Harry, what could my name be? I don't even recall. Yeah, I don't remember what your last name is either. To me, it'll always be the Ginger G.I. Joe. Oh, that's quite a laugh. If I weren't English, I'd be laughing. Yeah, I suppose you would. Listen, man, I gotta go. How does one say goodbye in the Ojibwe language? Well, we don't really say goodbye. That's kind of an English thing. We say, I'll see you again. Giga waba min. Mina wa. Well, giga waba min, mina wa. Nanaboozhoo. You too, buddy. Poor old Prince Harry. Yeah. Hey, we got a super chat. All right. Is it surrealist? You know what? Yeah, it is. Be quiet, surrealist. $50. 50 big ones. Be quiet. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to support the show, be like surrealist, you can click the links below. Although we don't have the links here. Behold. Whoops. What did I do with that, sweetie? Inushke. Gitchigami. A lot of people think Gitchigami means Lake Superior. Our word for Lake Superior is also our word for the sea. The Gitchigami, the great water. The great, lake. Gami. Gitchi means great. Gitchigami is like the sea, the great water. This is a poem that I wrote. I didn't write this. What am I saying? This is a poem that the Water Boys, a band from the 80s, wrote. And I recite it like a poem. And Michael, a rockstar cartoonist, plays guitar. But I love it so much because it's about, everything, the river. Life is like a river. It starts out one place. Up here, a lot of people carry on a lot how the source of the Mississippi starts in Itasca Park. It's not far from here. And everybody who lives here and everybody who visits eventually gets to the Itasca State Park, and they go walk across the area where the beginning of the Mississippi, the Great Water, or whatever, the Mississippi. And, sometimes I look back on the 80s and I look back where I've been and all the things that led up to this day and bringing us here today. And it's like it's like a river flowing into the sea. So this poem's kind of how about, there was a time you may have had a lot of hard times, a lot of bad memories, a lot of difficulty in your life. Maybe you're suffering from a few too many plans that have gone wrong. But that was the river, and this is the sea. Anyway, up next, you want to get up here, sweetie? Sure. The lovely and the talented Natasha. Inushke. Natasha. Behold, the lovely and talented Natasha. First, this is the sea. I say that, sweetie, and then I don't have it queued up. That would have been a perfect, anyway. Inushke. Natasha. And this is the sea. These things you keep, you better throw them away. You want to turn your back on your soulless days. Once you were tethered, but now you are free, because that was the river, and this is the sea. Now if you're feeling weary, if you've been alone too long, maybe you're feeling suffering from a few too many plans that have gone wrong. And you're trying to remember how fine your life used to be, running around banging your drum like it's 1973. Well, that was the river. This is the sea. Now you say you got trouble. You say you got pain. You say you got nothing left to believe in, nothing to hold on to, nothing to trust, nothing but chains. You've been scouring your conscience, raking through your memories, scouring your conscience. You know that you once held the key. Well, that was the river. This is the sea. Now I can see that you're wavering as you try to decide. You've got a war in your head, and it's tearing you up inside. You're trying to make sense of something that you just don't see. Trying to make sense now. You know that you once held the key. Well, that was the river. This is the sea. Now here there's a train. It's coming on down the line. It's yours if you hurry. You've got still enough time. And you don't need no ticket. And you don't pay no fee. No, you don't need no ticket. And you don't pay no fee. Because that was the river. This is the sea. Behold, the sea. Inashke, behold. Gitchigami, the sea. Ladies, stay off the drum. Waiter, waiter. Hey, away. Get off the drum, ladies. No. BOOZHOO! Niemand Windum G-A-I-N Omanungum. I'm happy to be here today with you, the BOOZHOO crew, Natasha Nindishanakos, and Mindamoya Miigwech. What is it? Mindamoya gave us $20. Okay, Miigwech, Mindamoya. Thank you, old lady. Today is Ojibwe word of the day. Oh, here comes Nancy Schmancy with $69.99. Ooh, look out, sweetie. It's got the 666 coding in there. I think she's an Illuminati. Oh, watch out. Miigwech for an amazing daily show. We always look forward to it. Nancy, thank you for saying that. I mean, don't get us wrong. We love doing it, but it really goes a long ways to hear that you enjoy it. Last week we went out to the mall, and I saw somebody I haven't seen in a long time. And Louis, I'm sorry I forgot your name. He doesn't know, but it was one of those moments where I was like, hey, I know that guy. What's going on, Niji? Hey, buddy. And I never used his name because I couldn't remember it. And I was walking away. I was like, Louis. Oh, yeah. Hey, Louis. It's good to see you again, buddy. But I haven't seen him. The first thing he said was, hey, congratulations on the show. The wife and I watch it every day. Or she watches it. I don't always watch it. He's all honest about it, which is fine. And she goes, and we have a new baby. We make a baby watch it. Like, it's great. Thank you. So I appreciate it. Anyway, la 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 la. So yeah, that was the river. That was the ZB. And this is the sea. This is the Kitchiga. But then I saw somebody said that Lake Superior, Ruby says, I lived on Lake Superior for years. It is actually an island sea. So the Ojibwe word is right on. Well, there you go. It's actually an inland sea. Island sea. What's wrong with me? Oh, that's cool. So they're just calling it the sea. It's just the definition of that large body of water. That's so awesome. The big lake, she says, never gives up her dead. In a da-da kitchi gumi. What do they call that? Kitchigami. So today, what should we talk about, sweetie? Do you want to take a call? I don't think we have anybody else up for the call. There's the Breakfast Club meme. Let's look at that again. Just remember, this was from yesterday. For every boomer that is annoyed by millennials, there's a generation in between that is annoyed by both of you. That's what it means to be Generation X. So yesterday, we were talking about the Breakfast Club. As we often do on this show, we talk about the good old days. And as I get older, I start to feel more like my grandma every day. Because my grandma always talked about the old days, the good old days. And for her, the good old days were like the 30s and they're like the 40s and 50s. Actually, she had decades of good old days, really. But for me, I keep looking back at the 80s with such fondness when I see the movies and stuff and the music. But so yesterday we were talking about generations. And like my grandma and grandpa, I learned so much from them just seeing their generation. The World War II generation. That generation was so, you had to hand it to them. Men were men, women were women. They fought in a war. They called them the Great Generation. But the one thing they really failed at was parenting. Because they gave birth to a boom. There was a baby boom, they called it. When the World War II generation came back, Life magazine had photos of, oh, here comes the Navy man, finally gets to see his wife again after so long. And they're kissing on the boardwalk there. It's so romantic. And everybody was in love. It was the first summer of love. Not the sweaty, muddy Woodstock summer of love that their kids would have. This was the baby boomers' summer of love. And there were like tons of ladies got pregnant that year. And so that generation they called the baby boom. Eventually they became baby boomers. And then now it's just like, now they're called the listen boomer. The only time you use it was when you're talking down to our elders. But the boomers they eventually became the hippie generation, They were the ones who grew their hair out. They thought that their parents were squares. And they started, it was free love. It was the birth of they had birth control pills. And so their summer of love came in the late 60s. And it was a time when they kind of, rejected old traditional courting, whatever you call that, going on dates, and one guy, one girl, saved it till after marriage, got married in a church when you were young, and then, you made a baby. Baby boomers, for the first time in history, said, who needs that? Let's go jump in this mud at this outdoor concert and we'll make a baby. So Woodstock came and went, and then there was another generation created. Our generation. Generation X. We were the kids who were born during the fake moon landing, space race stuff. We were born into Watergate, Vietnam. We were babies during that time. And eventually we grew up into the 80s. And you know how generations, they kind of flip back and forth? So the World War II generation people were kind of square and traditional. And the 80s kids, there was a backlash. The kids started cutting their hair short. They started wearing ties and blazers. Yeah, you'd roll the sleeves up on the blazers, and the tie wouldn't go all the way up. It'd be a skinny little black tie with maybe some piano keys on it or something. But dressing up, fashion became important, being clean. But then courtship, all of our movies are about, finding the one. It was about, the climactic scene of a movie would be some teenager standing outside in the rain with a boombox over his head while Peter Gabriel was blasting. And we all understood, yeah, that's what's important, finding one special person. And then having a relationship and gradually getting married and having kids. So we did that. And then we had the kids called the millennials. And we didn't want to have the kind of relationships we had with our parents, where they were like bosses and kind of scary. But also Generation X and the Great Generation had a lot in common. So a lot of us were close to our grandparents and not with our parents, the hippies. But then the millennials, our generation, wanted to become best friends with our kids. And then we became helicopter parents, and we outlawed bullying, and we didn't let our kids play alone, unsupervised. No more just riding around the neighborhood on your bikes with who knows what, who knows where. Generation X kind of raised themselves. The parents were like, yeah, we're going to have another party. You kids stay in the basement or play in the garage or kids should be out of sight. No, seen and not heard, they would say. We want to know where you are, but stay out of our lives. Gen X and millennials became best friends because all of our marriages broke up. And so it was a lot of single parents trying to make up trying to, cheer up their kids. So, we didn't have any boundaries. We didn't make them work. They grew up really slow and really soft. And they went to college. And they got indoctrinated to believe America was a terrible place. And boys could be girls and girls could be boys and all that. They had a gay old time. But remember that? What's that? The Flintstones? Yeah, Flintstones used to be very gay. Yeah, Flintstones. Meet the Flintstones. They're a modern Stone Age family. From the town of Bedrock. Here's a page right out of history. Anyway, and then finally the millennials had a bunch of kids without marriage, without relationships. I'm not sure how Gen Z actually got to be here. I guess through dating apps or cloning or something. But then there's another generation now called Gen Z. And they're the kids now. And they're 1 out of 5 are identifying as something weird. And, they're all addicted to their phones and to the internet and social media. And this has been the story of the world from 1913 till now. I was born. Anyway, I don't know why I felt like I needed to spell that out. Talking about my generation. People try to put us down. Talking about my generation. Just because we love the Breakfast Club. I'm a Gen X, but my parents were way older. They were not boomers or hippies. You probably had the World War II parents. That, Ruby might be like the descendants of straight up boarding school survivors. Because especially as Indian people, that's where our story kind of gets in there too. That World War II generation were also the boarding school era kids. They went to boarding school. They were raised in institutions. And they went to war, another institution. And they came out. And they started colleges and institutions, businesses. And the cars and boom, everyone bought houses. And they tried to create a family and, And for many years, the hippies were sort of celebrated, the boomers, as being the ones who, they did so much good. They were the generation of peace and love. They ended the Vietnam War and they allowed women equality or whatever it was. But now as I'm getting older, I go, no, they were the worst people in the world. They're the ones who just stomped on traditional values. Yeah, they kind of made protest fashionable. Oh, really? You don't appreciate the boomers? Well, I guess you don't appreciate the American Indian movement, the civil rights movement, the women's movement. It's like, no, I don't really appreciate any of that, to tell you the truth. What do I care? I didn't need the American Indian movement to tell me to learn my language. I'm just now coming to that. What's that? I don't think I care about AIM anymore. Really? Well, I'm too young to really care. But I've always just kind of talked up, hey, AIM, American Indian Movement. They were our, freedom fighters of the old days. But what they really do? Bring in casinos? Thanks a lot. That really helped things out a lot. Now we got casinos every 10 miles. This is the legacy of the American Indian Movement. Let's just hope they never let Leonard Peltier out of jail. Why are you saying that? I don't know. I'm just trying to instigate some hate before I leave. What are we still doing on, sweetie? It's way over an hour. Okay. I'm going to sign out. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm just kidding about AIM. I want to say thank you so much for listening. Miigwech Bisanawig. If you'd like to support the show, we got links in the description. And Michael has books for sale on Amazon.com. Hey, I heard a good review yesterday. What's that? From one of your books, somebody wrote in. They said they loved the books. Oh, great. So thank you so much. Miigwech to the super chats today. And, Miigwech Ganawabi Egg. Thank you for watching BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, a podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am Natasha. This over here is NANABOOZHOO. Okay, hey, Miigwech. We'll see you tomorrow. And this over here is Michael Lyons. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. And I will see you again. Gigawabamin Minawa. Oh, baby doll. One to teleport. See you tomorrow. Make it so. Number one.